Hello and welcome to this special look at the new Covenant Health Park, which opened April 15th in downtown Knoxville. I'm Robin Wilhoit. This week, the Knoxville Smokies made history when they took to the field of a new multi-million-dollar stadium in the Old City.
I went a couple times, but I feel like I'm going to go a lot more now.
Yeah,
And
really.
I've always liked baseball, but even if you don't love baseball, it's still so much fun.
Thousands of fans turned out Tuesday night for the big home opener at Covenant Health Park. The Smokies came away with a win, which gave fans another reason to celebrate.
It's in a part of town in Knoxville where you can actually see a lot of Knoxville that surrounds that stadium.
Tuesday night, crowds finally got to see the Smokies play at Covenant Health Park. Plenty of people made their way through the gates for the first game, and fans weren't the only ones excited for things to get started.
It was kind of surreal seeing all the fans walk in, and then when I was on the field and kind of had a moment to take it all in.
The first night was filled with plenty of activities for people to take part in and required a lot of moving parts.
The first night, obviously we saw things that we know that now we've taken note of that we can do better, but you know, there's always trial and error with a couple of things.
The fans tell me they were pleasantly surprised with all of the features of the new ballpark.
I didn't realize it was going to be as big as it was. It was huge. There's so many seats in the whole stadium, and it was so nice.
And the staff say they're just glad they were able to make the night memorable.
We try to make it a best night for them and try to have things that they will remember that will make them want to come back to another game.
So far, it seems like things are going according to plan.
I think it would be great for your family or friends, you know, and I have a little granddaughter, and I'm going to try to take her one day too.
You can get tickets to the Knoxville Smokies games on their website. We also have a link right now at WBIR.com and the 10 News app. What played out on and off the diamond on April 15th was a culmination of many years of planning. Anchor John Becker shares the timeline.
The dream of returning baseball to Knoxville started years ago, a dream set to become reality on April 15th. But let's rewind the clock, not 20 years when baseball left the city, but to June of 2023. The groundbreaking for that new multi-use stadium almost 2 years ago marked a major milestone. Then fast forward to August of 2024, concrete and steel taking shape, and we learned the name of what supporters call the People's Park. Covenant Health Park. The healthcare system won the naming rights for the next 20 years. Months later, here in October, we witnessed new signs of progress. Seats, a frame for that scoreboard in the shape of the state of Tennessee. It is a signature symbol in right field. And by November, crews put down grass on the field, grass on the base paths, the diamond set for opening game under the lights. Baseball, soccer, and community events all hosted by this multi-million-dollar, multi-use stadium in the heart of Knoxville in April of 2025. We are launching a new era for the Knoxville Smokies.
Well, there's a line from the baseball movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Well, that easily applies to the place we are highlighting today, Covenant Health Park. It is a culmination of years of planning, preparing, and building. Reporter Jim Matheny gives us this look back at one man's pursuit of his own field of dreams.
Baseball is like that. People have great memories.
For Tennessee Smokies owner Randy Boyd, this pitch for a new field of dreams beside downtown Knoxville flips the famous line, if you build it, they will come.
Most cities build a stadium and then hope that other businesses will locate around it. In this particular case, we're going to guarantee $140 million worth of development immediately in conjunction with building the stadium.
Boyd's plan is to first promise a huge private investment for retail, restaurants, and residential space to try to convince local governments to build a $65 million stadium. A venue he says will be for more than just baseball.
We also are going to lay it out so a minor league soccer team could also play there. We expect a lot of concerts. Our goal would be to have 200 events a year.
Boyd says he'll donate the 9 acres he owns at the old Knoxville Salvage Building, something he hopes will bridge the divide of prosperity between downtown and East Knoxville.
Most of the people that I've talked with in East Knoxville believe that James White Parkway was a wall between them and the rest of the community. We believe this project can knock down that wall. It can ignite economic development throughout East Knoxville.
As for why now is the time to take a swing at bringing the Smokies back to Knoxville, Boyd says the soonest the team could be set up beside the old city is 2023. The team's current contract in Sevier County runs out after the 2024 season.
To make the decisions to build a stadium probably needs to be before the end of this year. Being in downtown Knoxville would have a lot of benefits for our fans and for the team. So it's something that we needed to explore. We want to be able to create a venue that can create memories for the next generation.
In downtown Knoxville, Jim Matheny, WBIR 10 News.
The dream of Covenant Health Park became a reality, not just to Randy Boyd and Boyd Sports, but also to a group known as the Sports Authority. It formed in December of 2020, comprised of Knoxville City Council and Knox County Commission. The board was created for the purpose of planning, financing, constructing, and managing that publicly owned sports and entertainment stadium. Over the course of the project, we've checked in with the Sports Authority. Here's one of the last updates.
Day in, day out, rain or shine. There are more than 120 people working on this $116 million downtown stadium.
So we're about at the halfway point currently. We're really excited to keep this project moving forward and get it completed as soon as we can. Right now, the only thing holding us up has been weather. So as long as we get some good weather here, the groundhog says it's coming, so we'll see what happens.
I grabbed a hard hat and took a tour around the site with Denart Construction's Mo Abbas.
The flag is the home plate dugout, and then the concourse wrap.
He's the senior project manager for the stadium build. Tuesday, the Knox County Sports Authority met to discuss progress. They told us this roof should be finished later this week. The representative says they're excited about the next steps that will make the stadium feel like a reality.
Building the field, that's what it's all about, is building the playing surface, and so I'm very excited about doing that. There's a lot of work that goes on with it. There's the underground drainage system.
Abbas says that this process will most likely start at the end of this summer. And as far as the end date, it's looking promising.
We're currently on schedule, and we're planning on finishing on time.
Just in time for that first pitch in the spring of 2025.
In addition to the Knoxville Smokies and One Knox Soccer, Covenant Health Park includes apartments and condos. The apartments are now available to rent, and the condos, they'll open later this year. There are also plans to make the park an entertainment venue for events like concerts and holiday events. Back in 2021, John Becker took a site tour to learn more about the vision beyond baseball.
We plan on having the stadium open 365 days out of the year, so people that want to come and walk the concourse can come and use it. It's the people's park.
Businessman, philanthropist, and baseball team owner Randy Boyd outlines a transformational vision for turning this old meatpacking plant and salvage yard into a multi-use stadium in downtown Knoxville within 2 years.
Where I'm standing now will be the entrance to the baseball stadium. Home plate will be just on the other side of what is now a brick wall.
It's not just going to be sit in your seat, eat some popcorn or a hot dog.
We only play baseball 70 nights a year, but we're going to have events over 200 nights a year. So there'll be all kinds of other events going on. And inside there'll be 7,000 seats for fans. But there'll be a lot of other spaces too, areas where people to gather and mingle and enjoy each other's company, in addition to actual sitting down and watching the game.
In baseball terms, if closing the deal is a 9-inning game, right now in February 2021, the owner of the minor league Tennessee Smokies says we're in the second inning.
We've got a lot of enthusiasm, we've got a lot of plans, but we still got a lot of work left to do.
What is the benefit of having a baseball stadium in downtown Knoxville?
Well, I think this could be such a catalytic event for all of East Knoxville and downtown. The idea of building a baseball park is not something of creating a venue just for baseball, but creating an entertainment venue that can have concerts, soccer, all kinds of other tournaments, family reunions. We can have farmers markets, but it'll be a park that's used year-round for multiple uses. So it's not really just about baseball. So it'll be an opportunity to bring the community together for a lot of different events and have a seismic economic impact on the community.
Boyd and his investors are bringing more than $140 million to the table to support the project. But those development partners are asking city and county taxpayers to back roughly $65 million in bonds to build the stadium, plus potentially another $20 million in taxpayer dollars to upgrade infrastructure around the site.
It's like any other park that you would invest in, except this one has real tangible return back to the community.
Lots of numbers are swirling around the stadium plan, but in the short term, politically, two matter, 6 and 5. Those are the majority votes needed on county commission and city council to okay the taxpayer-backed bonds.
What are some of the commitments that will be very specific to the community where this stadium will sit, which is the East Knoxville community?
The project sits in Vice Mayor Gwen McKenzie's district. Her elected colleagues on council and commission are expected to give the stadium plan a thumbs up or down by this summer.
I can see advantages, and I can also see some potential things that could not be an advantage. But again, the jury's still out on that, and I'm looking forward to just getting more information.
The year 2000, that's the last time we saw pro ball in downtown Knoxville on this side of the old Bill Meyer Stadium. That's gone, but that new project is on the horizon just a few football fields away, closer to downtown.
One of the exciting parts is the history of baseball in Knoxville. Baseball was started in Knoxville over 50 years ago, just blocks away from where this new stadium would be built. Imagine it being replaced with 630,000 square feet of retail and residential, 400 apartments and condos, farmers markets, entertainment, it will transform this part of Knoxville forever. So where we're sitting now would be a prime piece of real estate for somebody to have a retail shop on the first floor, and then above it will be the apartments. In this area here, there'll be a public plaza where there'll be farmers markets and restaurants and shops, and then where the big building is should be right field, with right field stands, and there'll be a view of downtown and also of apartments all along this back area.
As a reminder of how fast already this space is transforming, 2 weeks after first walking around the site, more walls are down, the brick reclaimed and ready to help lay the foundation for a new stadium.
And then 10 years from now, just imagine all this industrial waste turns into this magnificent part of our city.
4 years after that tour, John Becker and I had the opportunity to sit down with Randy Boyd inside Covenant Health Park for an in-depth interview about a place he calls the People's Park.
Okay, let's just launch into this. We talked to you many years ago about the vision you had. This is the reality. Has it aligned with the vision?
It's exceeded the vision. You know, I was excited about everything that I thought we would be able to create. But when you actually walk in and see the surroundings, the condominiums on one side and the apartments on the other, the swimming pool in center field, this massive scoreboard, it just has it's overwhelming. So again, I kind of drew this up in my mind conceptually, but to actually see it in reality is a different thing, and it exceeds expectations.
There was so much talk in the beginning about money and how this stadium would be financed and how much money you were putting in. Explain where we stand with budget and on-time construction.
Budget, we're on budget, and with regards to time, we finished ahead of time. The team at Denard, all credit goes to them. They finished 2 months ahead of when they were expected to finish. So that's given us extra time to get all the other details around the stadium finished and prepared. And it turns out there are a lot of details to finish after you finish the construction.
You are a metrics kind of person. You want to measure success. How do you measure the success of this multi-use stadium in the next 6 months, the next year, and the next 5 years?
Some are easy to measure, some will be less easy to measure. Easy things to measure, season ticket sales. We're up like 600% since last year at Kodak. Sponsorships are up like 500% since last year. Regular ticket sales are dramatically up. So we're excited about all those metrics. One of the other metrics that we will be measuring, and we don't have numbers on yet, but our model is the Fort Wayne baseball team that we got to visit a couple of times. They have over 700 events a year. So I'm frustrated sometimes, not all, but sometimes somebody will say, well, this is only like 70 nights a year. What's going to happen there the rest of the year? We're going to have activities year round. An example, the folks in Fort Wayne have a light show in their stadium at Christmas time. From Thanksgiving to New Year's last year, they had 98,000 people. Imagine 98,000 people coming downtown over a 5-week period. It'll be one of the biggest events ever. That's not even something people are talking about yet. So our goal, another metric will be just year-round activities, which will be measured in economic impact. I guess a third economic, or another way to measure success will be just the economic impact we have in the surrounding area. The condominiums, the apartments, and the stadium equal roughly about a $350 million investment. I just know off the top of my head 5 other people that are looking to invest that might total another $500 million. And if that happens over the next 3 years, we're going to be close to $1 billion in investment in this area. And that's just the things I know about.
And just to follow up on that, to put that in perspective, it seems like I'm not a math person, I'm a journalist, but that's like investing $1 and then you're seeing 10 back. Is that?
Yeah, I think that would be exactly right. Yeah, the return on investment to be determined, but it would be way north of 5 or 10 times what we've invested in the stadium, in the project. I think that I mentioned there's other intangibles. One of the things, we've talked about this a lot, that we hope that this stadium does is bring our communities closer together. And I think baseball is somewhat unique in that you bring people from all walks of life, from all parts of the community together to share an experience. And I think in this world where we're all so divided, we need more things that pull us together. And again, it's going to be hard to measure, but if this can be a gathering place for our community, that will be probably the most significant impact it'll have.
And here's a softball question for you at a baseball stadium and beyond. But for Randy Boyd, why baseball? What is it about baseball? You talk about bringing a community together, but you personally have been invested in baseball beyond just the Smokies. Your reach goes far and wide throughout the region.
Well, we talked earlier, it's the one sport that I really, probably all the sports that I'm bad at, this one I'm the worst at. And there's a lot of those that I'm bad at, but this one I was worst at. So I've always kind of been amazed at people that can play baseball. So there's that. But also, in my early career, I traveled all over the country, and a lot of times, unlike now, I'd have free nights. And I'd be in Boston or New York or Chicago or someplace where there's a major league team. I could go to watch a baseball game by myself. And I just kind of fell in love with the ambiance of the stadium and what it represented. If you go to PNC Park in Pittsburgh, for example, it's kind of a melting pot of the community, and they have knishes and Piamenti Brothers sandwiches, and so all the foods and tastes and smells all are represented in this ecosystem, which is called a baseball park. So I always thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to create my own baseball park? I managed to make 45 major league parks, and so I've kind of been a connoisseur of baseball parks. Unfortunately for me, and there was a dream at one time of owning a major league baseball team, but I've done the math. When I was 21 years old and broke, you could buy a team for like $200 million. So I was only $200 million apart. Today I've done fairly well, but now I'm probably like $3 billion away. So I haven't gotten closer to my dream. I've gotten further away. I should have bet it all then, even though I couldn't have. But so minor league baseball, I think there's something pure about it too. It's a different feel. And the other thing that's really interesting about baseball that I love, and we talked about this already about the sense of community, but there's studies that show at like football games and baseball games, they video the spectators, and 90% of the time they're looking straight ahead at the action. If you video fans at a baseball stadium, 50% of the time they're looking side to side, talking with their friends and neighbors. And so that's the kind of experience that people have at a baseball game, which is something that I appreciate and love.
Building on that, the experience, what will be unique about this place for the fan experience?
Well, there's a lot of things. So one of the things we wanted to do is create something like Wrigley Stadium, and this is sacrilegious, I'm just going to say it though, but it might be better. Now, people all across the baseball world will hate me for having said that, but here's why I think that. So we tried to model after Wrigley and failed, because they had rooftops on top of buildings. It turns out that it's really expensive to put a set of bleachers on top of a building. You have to have all kinds of additional infrastructure. But in their case, the buildings are on the other side of the street, which means that the views are really not that good. At our stadium, we're actually building the condominiums and the apartments attached to the stadium. So it's much closer. It has this incredible vibe with all the community surrounding it. So that's different. Having a swimming pool in center field is unique. We also, and my wife and I disagree, we have a river that runs through it. Now every time I say that, she'll point out, no, it's a creek, but I'm gonna go with the river. But there's a river that runs through it. I think we're the only baseball stadium that actually has a body of water running through it with a bridge, and so the concourse actually goes around the river. That's unique. One of the things, kind of a small detail, but it's important, our 9-story condominium complex blocks the sun in the afternoon games, so everybody's in the shade. Many times you go to a game and we're trying to find, okay, what seat is going to be in the shade so we're not roasting. Everybody's going to be in the shade, so that's cool. And then maybe, I would say lastly, but one last thing. All around the outside of the stadium are retail establishments. There'll be all kinds of restaurants and bars and coffee shops and a whole community. And there'll be a public square that's bigger than Market Square with water fountain or splash pads and all the other fun things for kids and families to do. So it's going to be a complete experience.
We know the stadium seats about 7,000. How many people would likely live around it if every condo is sold?
Oh, well, just what we've already got, or we're building, is 47 condos, 233 apartments. But I can think of, again, 5 developers bidding for 2 or 3 different lots, depending on how they're developed. There could be another 800 to 1,000 keys or apartments. So, and then actually I know another guy that on the other side of James White Parkway, which would be another 120. And that's just people that I have conversations with. But all the land in the area is being bought up by people that are wanting to develop it. So it's hard to know, but it'll be a lot.
So we may see as many people living around the stadium as we might see at a packed house game.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if just all the people that live within a 3-block range come to radius come to every game, will be sold out every game.
We're bringing people into a neighborhood, into a community that has a rich history, and it was important to you and to those who developed this to recognize that and to include that. Were you successful in doing that?
I believe we have. I mean, there's always more that you can do, and there's more that we want to do. But I think we've got a really great start. We've been working with Renee Kessler at the Beck Cultural Center, and she, if you don't know her, she's passionate and she's brilliant and our expert on everything this community and helping us making sure that things that we do try to represent are authentic. We'll be having an unveiling on a certain date. I don't know that it's known yet, but there will be an unveiling of some bronze statues that will represent heroes of the East Knoxville community, baseball leaders and community leaders. And this is something else I have to fact check, but I'll say for now, and somebody can prove me wrong, that we're going to have more bronze statues around our stadium than any other baseball park in America. We'll have a lot. And those are going to represent our history. Inside the stadium, there's going to be representations of some of our history. In the store, we're going to be selling Knoxville Giants memorabilia, jerseys and other things. Knoxville Giants was the Negro League team from the 1920s, which actually one of the teams went to the World Series at one time. So we're trying to incorporate as much of the community in the stadium as possible.
One of the big conversations pre-stadium is parking. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What's your message to people who are curious or concerned about parking and getting to the stadium?
And there's close to 7,000 parking spots within a half a mile, about half that within a quarter of a mile. There's plenty of parking. We're just not going to be able to pull up next to the door. So this isn't Walmart. You can't park right to the front door. But I think from a development point of view, you don't want that. I mean, the idea is for people to walk to the stadium, to walk by restaurants and other establishments and experience more of the city, and hopefully spend more money in the city. And one of the problems that we have in Kodak is that people drive in, they park, they go to the stadium, they come back out to their car and they leave, and they never really make any kind of other impact on the community. In this case, we want them to do that.
Talk about just opening day. We're 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away now. What are you feeling in the lead up to this?
Well, I'm excited about opening day. So if things go as planned, this is the part that I'm the most nervous about. My 4-year-old and 7-year-old granddaughters are going to be saying, play ball. And we've been practicing it for like months. And I'm a little anxious that when we put the microphone in front of them, they will freeze up and we'll have to call the game because nobody's willing to say play ball. But hopefully if that goes okay. I think the thing I'm just excited about is just having a celebration with everybody. We've all kind of been, it's not just my dream, it's so many people's dreams. I've talked to hundreds, maybe thousands of people that say, I wish Bill Myers had never left and we miss it and we're so happy for have baseball back in Knoxville. So it's just an opportunity to celebrate with everybody that's excited about having baseball back in Knoxville.
Are you throwing out the first pitch?
No.
Can you tell us who is?
Yeah.
Two reasons. One, there's a lot of other honorees that should have the right to throw it out. And so I'm happy to let them have that honor. And there'll probably be something that you learn in baseball that there's not just one first pitch. There can be like 10 first pitches, but there will be several first pitches thrown out by people that you could probably guess, people that are leaders in our community that help make this happen. And then the second reason is every time I've tried to do it, I usually am embarrassed by the attempt, and I don't have enough time to practice between now and then. So I'm gonna nobly pass on that honor to others.
You know, you talked about you're a stadium connoisseur. You've gone to these stadiums. Is this going to be one of those stadiums that you think will be the model for other stadiums to come?
Yeah, I think so. I believe, I'm convinced that we'll have the best minor league stadium, at least this year. Now, every year somebody comes up with something new. Chattanooga is coming up with a really cool new stadium they'll have in 2026. But at this moment in time, we have the best minor league stadium in the country. And it has a lot of unique, as we've talked about, a lot of unique amenities that maybe others will try to replicate, but not everybody can. Not everybody's going to be able to have a river running through their stadium, for example.
What's the one thing, Robin asked this, but just to reiterate, when somebody walks into the stadium, experiences it, and then walks out, what feelings do you hope they walk away with?
I hope they have a sense of pride in their community, a place that they feel like they can show to their friends and neighbors and people that come to visit, something that it can be a show place for Knoxville.
What was the biggest challenge in making this come to fruition, and what was the biggest win, if you will?
Well, I think the biggest challenge would have probably been some members of the community that were worried that it wouldn't bring benefit to them. And I think one of the exciting parts was when we've been able to demonstrate through our commitment to the history of the community, to being able to provide jobs to people in the community, that it is going to be a positive impact to them.
And the biggest win?
Oh, when we beat the Chattanooga Lookouts on April 15th. Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Randy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
I do have one quick
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Lily.
Can you tell us where are your favorite spots in the stadium?
So my favorite spots in the stadium are, I still don't know. I know we've got a condo.
It changes every time you walk in.
Every time I go, it's great. There's really not a bad seat because you got something interesting to look at from wherever you're at. We rented an apartment because our condo won't be ready in the Yardley Flats. This is ABC's Always Be Closing. Yardley Flats, coolest apartment site in America. The view from the apartment looking down at the stadium is incredible. But I've also got a chance to look at the stadium from the condominium. And ours is 9 stories, but it's arguable if 4 stories or 9 stories is a better view. But you're looking straight down at home plate and at the pitcher's mound. And again, I've been to 45 major league stadiums, walked every inch of them, and I've never seen a view like that into a baseball stadium. So it's incredibly cool views from the apartments and the condos. But throughout the stadium, again, you're never in the sun. You've got interesting views in every direction. And you've got places where if you're really not interested in baseball, you can still have fun. One of the things I was always surprised at, I go to the Nashville Sounds game. They would have this bar that in the right field they call the Sound, I forget. Anyways, they have this bar in the outfield, and it's got cornhole and ping pong and putt-putt. And I remember seeing that the first time, thinking, how do you play cornhole and watch a baseball game? But, oh, that's not really the idea. People are paying $15 to a cover charge for this big outdoor party with 7,000 of their friends. And so there'll be a lot of that as well.
Well, you've probably heard people say there's not a bad seat in the house. So anchor Brittany Bailey set out to find out if that is indeed the case at Covenant Health Park.
When you get here to Covenant Health Park, this is one of the first spots you'll see, so let's head inside and check out the rest. Now we have made it up here to the concourse where you get your first glance at the Tennessee-shaped scoreboard. By the way, the biggest scoreboard in minor league baseball. So now let's check out the seats. And if you want one of the best seats in the house, of course, you've got to come behind home plate. All of these are open for sale, and you get to be right in the center of all the action. We have made it here to the third base side where we've got a great view of the field and also an amazing view of downtown Knoxville. And we are here feeling a little pampered because you can reserve this four-top with 3 of your closest friends and you don't even have to leave the table. You can order and be served right from here. But if you do need to get up, you're very close to the restrooms right over there. Here we are in the Bush's Best Picnic Pavilion. Now, during the first week, you can buy single tickets here, but after that, you can reserve this for groups as low as 25, all the way up to this whole space for 500 people, and every ticket gets access to the barbecue buffet. Now we are here in the outfield, another great view, and this is a new section in the new stadium. If you're in this section, you will get a seat, but you'll be right next to the watering hole, otherwise known as the bar. So if you want to socialize and get a little bit rowdy, this is the Modelo watering hole. If you don't feel like you need to be parked in a seat and you want to wander around the stadium, well, you can buy a ticket in the standing room only section. They also happen to be the cheapest tickets, but don't worry, you can walk right up and still get a great view of Covenant Health Park.
One of the ballpark's coolest features is a scoreboard in the shape of Tennessee. 10 Sports reporter Emily Ray Cochran caught up with Smokies president Chris Allen to find out the thought process that went into that iconic design.
And we talked to the players on media day and we were asking them what their favorite part about this stadium was. Obviously, it was hard to pick just one, but most of them said the scoreboard.
Yes.
When you walked in and saw that scoreboard for the first time, what was your reaction to it?
You know what? It took my breath away. I mean, it's something we've talked about for months, you know, the scoreboard, and the guys with visual have been working hard to get it finished, but, you know, weather or what have you, it's kind of slowed the process a little bit. But when it turned on for the first time I was here, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. It's a beautiful scoreboard. Just the picture is so crisp. I was telling someone earlier today, you know, our video board back at Kodak was in 2008, was installed then, and we've been operating on that same one for all these years. It's amazing it continued to work, but night and day difference.
Yeah. And, you know, having it kind of just represent the state of Tennessee, was that kind of the goal in mind, or was there some kind of meaning behind having it be the actual shape of the state?
Yeah, you know, we toured a lot of ballparks, a lot of minor league parks over the years, probably the last 5 or 6 years. Our executive team went all around just taking notes. Randy and his family did the same thing, and Randy's a connoisseur, if you will, of major league ballparks, so he's been to like every one of them. So he had a lot of ideas of what he wanted to put in his ballpark. But one thing stuck in my mind, we visited Nashville and we saw their guitar-shaped video board. And I'm thinking, that's a great idea. I mean, perfect for Nashville to have a guitar-shaped video board. And then I started thinking, well, we're the Tennessee Smokies. Not anymore, we're Knoxville Smokies now, but we were the Tennessee Smokies. But you know what, Tennesseans are so proud of their state and everything about it. We thought it would go over real well, and so far it's been eye-catching for everyone when they walked in.
Parking at and near the stadium was a big question before the first game, but so far it appears to be going smoothly. But if you have plans to make it to a game in the near future, reporter Sarah Ottman shares some tips to help you navigate your way to the park.
We're about 1 month away from the first Smokies game at Covenant Health Park here in downtown Knoxville. I'm starting at the Langley Garage, and I'm going to take you with me on a walk from here to the stadium. And we're also going to time how long it takes us to get there. The Langley Garage is going to have 650 reserved parking spaces available for a prepaid $5 fee. Summer Place Garage, which is right around the corner here, will also have 450 reserved spaces for the same flat $5 fee. Langley, Summer Place, Market Square, and Locust Street Garage will also all have a free shuttle service that runs every 10 minutes from there to the stadium. In addition to those reserved parking spaces, there are nearly 7,400 affordable or free parking spaces available within about 0.8 of a mile or closer to the stadium. The Old City South lot, which is underneath the bridge ahead of us, will have 70 ADA accessible spots reserved with an accessible shuttle as well. We have arrived at Covenant Health Park. It took us about 17 minutes to walk from the Langley Garage to here. Reporting in Knoxville, I'm Sarah Oppmann.
And from what we can tell from opening night on the 15th, parking was not a problem. There are shuttles. It's an easy walk to the stadium from the downtown lots, and there are $5 passes that are available on the Smokies website.
I think it's excellent. They got a ramp down there that they will have in place. It's close. You're underneath the viaduct. You've got room to unload your wheelchair.
I figured they would have had it all planned out, and they have. They had the cat buses running, several going at different times, so intervals, they were just popping them off.
It was easy to walk, easy to park. Everything was accessible, and when I walked in, I walked right in the gate.
For a complete list of places to park, head over to WBIR.com or download the 10 News app. Also debuting April 15th, the return of the Mounted Patrol Unit in Knoxville. Officers on horseback are set to patrol around the stadium during the next 3 days and special events across downtown Knoxville. Department leaders say this mounted unit will help with search and rescue, crowd control, and simple patrols. For Smokies fans, following the team from Kodak back to Knoxville could be a grand slam or a swing and miss. Reporter Lauren Lovett has more on the sale of single tickets.
Originally my brother's seat, so the entire 25 years family's been here.
As the Smokies move back to Knoxville, many fans are following them to their new stadium. But for Brent Ashley, he's still deciding.
It just was easier to come out here. Parking is easier here. They may get the parking worked out in Knoxville. I hope they do. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful stadium.
While the team has lost one season ticket holder, they've gained plenty more. Chris Allen, president and chief operating officer of Boyd Sports, says they've sold 4 times the amount of season tickets compared to their best year in Kodak. One of those new season ticket holders is Steve West.
We usually went to the University of Tennessee games, and we'll now just add this to it. Baseball's fun in East Tennessee, successful also.
Living in Blount County, the drive was too far to Kodak. Now being in Knoxville, he's looking forward to watching the games and encouraging anyone still waiting to jump on tickets soon.
A lot of people are going to wish that they'd gotten earlier tickets because they're going to go, I think, pretty fast.
Allen agrees. He says all of opening week is selling pretty quickly. And he says to anyone upset about the move, just give the new stadium a chance.
Come check us out. Give us a chance. We think you'll like the new facility. I feel the same way they do. Very proud of what we accomplished in the past. But I'm also excited about the future.
Ashley says he'll miss the old ballpark in Kodak, but hopes to visit the new stadium soon.
Watch the players give fist bumps to the fans as they came out through the netting. It was just a family atmosphere, and hopefully that'll carry over down to downtown Knoxville.
You can purchase single tickets. You can also book group tickets for an event at the stadium during a baseball game. And we are just warming up. Still to come, we will cover all the bases of baseball's history in Knoxville and East Tennessee. Welcome back to our celebration of Covenant Health Park and the Smokies' return to Knoxville. Whether it's played at the new stadium, a little league field, even the backyard, baseball is America's favorite pastime. Historian Jack Neely recounts the history of the country's favorite game right here in East
Baseball was the first team sport ever played in Knoxville, and it began right after the Civil War. In fact, it was Civil War veterans playing against each other in the years just after the Civil War. It was a different game back then, and there are local people who were bringing back the old 1860s rules baseball. There were no gloves, but to compensate, they would allow the ball to bounce once, and if you caught on after one bounce, it was an out. And the bats were pretty impressive. Apparently, they were longer bats, and they would sometimes go very far. And this whole idea of playing team sports was altogether new. This was a quarter century before the first football or basketball games. We were playing baseball, and Knoxville was a baseball city for a long time. Knoxville had a championship team called the Reds. They just wore, that was the color they wore red. And but they in 1880, 1881 were believed to be the best baseball team in the South. They played against Atlanta, bigger cities, and won these games. UT had a baseball game pretty early, and I think they were called the Reds too, honestly. Before UT was connected to Orange, we were playing baseball already, and red was the color. It was in 1916, a guy named William Caswell, who had been one of the first baseball players in Knoxville. He'd been involved in these very early games in the 1860s. But he donated to the city a major tract of land that became known as Caswell Park. We had both black and white baseball teams, and they usually played on different fields. The black team called at one time the Knoxville Grays, who played at a field called Booker T. Washington Field, but the white teams played on the Caswell Park, which also hosted pro games, including some exhibition games by the New York Yankees, who were here several times in the 20s and 30s, with Ruth and Gehrig, and all these famous players were here playing exhibition games.
Right now, there's an exhibit that celebrates the history of baseball in Tennessee. Anchor Brittany Bailey has more on the home runs and the home teams at the East Tennessee History Center.
You know, if you look at baseball from the outside, it seems pretty simple. All it takes is a ball, a bat, and a glove. But for those who live and breathe the game, it's anything but simple. It's simply a way of life.
Baseball's always been at the heart of community.
A brand new exhibit at the East Tennessee History Center is shining a spotlight on what baseball really means here in the Volunteer State. Home runs and home teams knocks it out of the park, covering all the bases, thanks to the deep dive research from folks including Adam Alfrey, who's clearly got his eye on the ball when it comes to Tennessee's baseball legacy.
When baseball was first played in Knoxville, it was played in 1867, and the first games were actually played on Gay Street, right where the downtown grill and brewery was. That's where Community Field was.
In his research, Alfrey found that baseball wasn't just a big city thing. No, it was everywhere. From tiny towns to booming cities, folks all across Tennessee were grabbing gloves, swinging bats, and falling in love with the game.
Many people may be surprised to learn that 30 Tennessee towns hosted a minor league team at some point in their history.
The exhibit is set up in 3 sections, each one packed with history and heart.
The Knoxville Giants, the great Negro League team, and some of their players such as Still Arm Dickey or One Wing Maddox. Not only the professional teams, but the amateur teams, and even how Tennessee women made a big impact on the national stage playing in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. So that's an interesting story not to miss.
They even honor the men who came to the area to build the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
These men who are working on the CCC projects, when they were boarding camp, they formed baseball teams, and then those camps played one another. So that's sort of a unique wrinkle to those baseball teams, too.
There's even a heartfelt tribute to the ballparks themselves, those fields of dreams that shaped Tennessee baseball, from the former Tennessee Smokies Stadium in Kodak to the legendary Bill Meyer Stadium in downtown Knoxville.
Of course, this community connects with Bill Meyer Stadium, and a lot of individuals have shared with us their memories of going there, and how excited they are to replicate that feeling of being able to go downtown and catch a game.
And in the exhibit's center field is a dream team of baseball players with ties to Tennessee.
We ask individuals to pick an all-time all-star team of players who were born in Tennessee. So who would be your 9 players for that team?
As excitement builds for this new era of local baseball, Alfre's hoping fans will slide into the exhibit and discover just how America's pastime helped Tennesseans pass the time, one pitch, one play, and one unforgettable summer at a time.
Why do we keep coming back to this game? And the consensus that I got is that it is simple. It's 90 feet between bases. It's a bat and a ball. I really think it is part of those building memories with one another and engaging in that way that makes it at the heart of community.
The Bill Meyer Stadium that's featured so prominently in the baseball exhibit at the History Center is also the subject of a documentary from WBIR storyteller William Winnett, which you can watch now. Here's a glimpse.
I guess it was a field of dreams at one time.
Babe Ruth supposedly hit a ball on top of those trees out there behind the Lamar sign.
Hell, I'd grown up out here watching the old Smokies.
It wasn't just a baseball team, it was our baseball team, you know.
He was the only Knoxvillian at that time who ever managed a big league team.
The Chicago White Sox come along with agreement that we could afford to come back in Knoxville with baseball.
The Knoxville Sox.
A team so fine.
Come on out and watch us shine.
Hurrah for the home team. Stand up and grin.
You'll score a hit when you turn to 10.
And of course, a new name means a new logo. Gone are the KJs. In are the Smokies.
Even though all of this stadium will be torn down, the field will stay. It will continue to be a place where young players can dream of making it in the big leagues.
Covenant Health Park sits in an area once known as the Bottom. All around the new stadium are tributes to that community and the Southern Negro Baseball League stars, the Knoxville Giants. Here's Aaron Velasquez with more on the incredible team and its lasting legacy.
Claude Still-Arm Dickey. There's a lot of the history there if you just do the work. If you look for the artifacts, if you look for the history, it's out there, and it's a matter of just putting it together.
The history of baseball in East Tennessee can't be told without talking about the Knoxville Giants of the Negro Southern League.
They set the foundation for a lot of baseball that we have today. And I think it's important that we remember where we came from and who established those opportunities for us.
The new Covenant Health Park honors the black history of the neighborhood it sits in.
It's fitting because this area was predominantly an African American community prior to urban renewal. So it felt right to be here having the story told in the space and place where much of the history took place. Not only that, many of these players would have lived in this community. They would have lived in this area.
Statues stand tall of Giants legends, Claude Still-Arm Dickey, Forrest One Wing Maddox, and more.
When we talk about One Wing Maddox, we're talking about an individual who literally had a disability, played with one arm, and became the greatest batting hitter in 1920. That's a story of encouragement for anybody.
The park's commitment to honoring their legacies goes beyond the statues. There are plans for there to be a permanent display for the Negro League to open at a later date.
7 beautiful bronze sculptures of the Knoxville Giants honor those baseball pioneers. Each one is unique, just like the players themselves. Here's reporter Sarah Oppen with some of their stories.
Inside the brand new Smoky Stadium, before a single pitch is thrown, 7 statues stand tall. They honor the Knoxville Giants, a Negro League team that took the field more than a century ago, and the multiracial history of baseball in the city.
We haven't begun to play the ball game here in this park yet the first thing we've done is commemorated this rich history with these beautiful statues.
Among those honored are Claude Still-Arm Dickey, a pitcher known as the Pride of the South, William Brooks, a school principal and the Giants' first manager, Forrest Maddox, a pitcher who overcame unimaginable odds.
At 10 years old, his arm will be amputated. But amazingly, he will go on to play for the Knoxville Giants in that inaugural year in 1920.
The statues were sculpted by Brian Hanlon, a project that went beyond athletic achievement.
This has a soul meaning to it. There is no collection like this in the country that celebrates African American athletes as well as the civic leaders we're going to be paying tribute to down the hill.
This land once belonged to a thriving Black community until urban renewal changed the map. For Renee Kessler with the Beck Cultural Exchange, this location matters.
So it felt right to be here having the story told in the space and place where much of the history took place.
And for the players who never got their due, this moment is decades in the making.
Oh, they would be overwhelmed. None of them thought that they would be recognized like they are today.
The Knoxville Smokies not only have a new stadium, they have new mascots. Meet Knox and Jackson. They are a father-son duo. The call went out to the public to help name them. There were more than 1,000 entries to be exact. So Knox, of course, it's a nod to the city, and Jackson is where the new stadium is located, Jackson Avenue. Joining the father and son is a third mascot, Smokey Joe, a popular mascot during the Bill Meyer Stadium days. Covenant Health Park is a thing of beauty as far as the eye can see. And even where fans can't go, it's pretty spectacular as well. Here's Eris with the Smokies to give us an exclusive tour behind the scenes.
Hi there, I'm Aris Theophanopoulos, Assistant General Manager of Marketing and Entertainment with the Knoxville Smokies, and today I'm giving you a little behind-the-scenes tour of what the typical fan wouldn't see at Covenant Health Ballpark. So today we're starting off here in the ORNL Federal Credit Union Luxury Club. This is a fantastic place to catch a baseball game, but also the perfect opportunity for you to rent out on a non-game day for a gala or a private party. Now we're in the owner's suite, which definitely gives you a fantastic view of the ball game, but also has the opportunity for carving stations, walks, a walk-in fridge, as well as a wine cooler. And right now, we're in front of this memorabilia wall, which features autographs from Major League Baseball Hall of Famers, as well as some of the greatest Smokies players ever to wear the jersey. And this is a jersey of our 2023 team that won the championship. It's not every day that you get to see what a player sees on a typical day. Right now, we are inside the family waiting area, and this is where the wives, girlfriends, and family members of our players get to hang out and catch up with their Smoky star at the end of a game. Now let's take you inside of the lounge and commissary. Over here is where the buffet is laid out for the players to eat, and each one of their meals is made up by our nutritionists that are on staff. After they're done eating, they can come out over here into our lounge area where they can sit back, watch some tape, but also play some arcade games. Something unique and one of a kind that you're only going to get to see before the season, before our first game, is the Smokies locker room. State of the art, something that the players have been looking forward to and literally were in awe when they first walked in. This is where our coaching staff gets to talk to the players and pep them up before a game. And of course, it has their own jerseys hanging up in each of the lockers. Now we're in the strength and conditioning room, informally known as the weight room. This is where our players pump iron before the game and after the game to blow off some steam, but a big thing that our players focus on is their bodies and making sure that they're game ready. And the final behind the scene place I wanted to show you today is the one and only Smokies dugout. This is where the players are going to take the field for the first time on April 15th and take a look at the view that they have today.
We have celebrated the entire team behind Covenant Health Park. When we come back, we'll take a look at the unsung heroes of the ball field, the employees who help you root for the home team. With so many changes this year for the Smokies, some things do remain the same, including the voice over the speakers. Katie Emmons sat down with the announcer to learn how he speaks for the team.
Welcome back, fans, to America's friendliest ballpark, Smokies Stadium.
A familiar sound and name for fans of the Smokies.
Well, makes me proud. actually.
George Yardley is the man behind the mic at baseball games and has been
Yeah.
for over 25 years.
I'm just thankful to be above the infield grass.
Especially since the park's new Knoxville address feels like coming home.
It is, because I started about 6 blocks from here at Bill Meyer Stadium in 1998.
He's been there through it all. Bad seasons and getting big rings.
Yeah, what an experience, you know, and I've seen some great players come through our organization and other organizations also.
But this year is a whole new ball game for the season public address announcer.
Going to have to make some adjustments with regard to things that I used to say that have changed.
Like what?
Like Covenant Health Park, not Smoky Stadium.
And coming up with a new greeting.
Fans, it's baseball time in Knoxville.
His seat in the press box has switched up a bit.
Different angle, obviously a different view, but, you know, feels great.
Instead of behind home plate, he's on the first baseline.
And I can see here, because we always operate with the windows up, and there's no screen. So, and I've already told some of my coworkers, guys, we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled for foul balls because we're really a target area. So I may bring my glove.
New equipment may also prove to be a curveball.
I hate to admit it, but I'm really a little bit challenged technology-wise. I may have to have written instructions as well as a video.
But if you ask him if he likes the new digs, the answer is simple.
That I feel like I am in a major league ballpark because it's unreal. And it seems so big.
Even if there's still some work to do.
It'll be a beautiful venue. See, there we go. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Through all the new,
the game's not changed.
And neither has the sound through the speakers.
Fans, good night and good sports. And remember, good sports always recycle.
Another employee returning to the Smokies is Jeff Wells. His title is usher, but you will see him just about everywhere in the park. Katie has more on why he enjoys passing his time surrounded by fans in the stands.
As a new era dawns for Smokies baseball, a fresh chapter begins for the unsung heroes behind the scenes, the heartbeat of the ballpark, the employees.
My first baseball experiences as a fan were at old Bill Meyer Stadium, just not too far from here.
Jeff Wells has spent 4 seasons showing fans to their seats, but this year he's finding his own footing in a brand new ballpark right alongside them.
You know, I am thrilled to be able to be part of the team here on the debut of Covenant Health Park. It is so wonderful to have baseball back in Knoxville, Tennessee.
The lifelong baseball fan says the game is about more than just a ball and a bat. It's a chance to make memories.
Baseball is a great family event. I can remember going to baseball games with my father back in the 1960s. And we've been able to pass that on to our children too, who are huge baseball fans. Baseball is America's sport. It's a family sport. It's a great place to bring your kids out to and enjoy a great game of baseball.
In his previous life, Wells was a Tennessee park ranger, learning skills he continues to use at the ballpark.
Our job there was to make sure our park visitors had a safe and enjoyable experience at the park. I try to transfer those skills here to my job here.
What Jeff Wells looks forward to the most, though, fans filling the stands once more, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, united by the game they love.
Everybody here shares a love of baseball, so being able to interact with our fans is by far my favorite experience. So I get the best of both worlds. I get a great day of baseball, I get to be at the park, and I even get paid a little bit to do it.
Covenant Health Park is now open, and you can visit the Knoxville Smokies website for tickets and parking information. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for watching, and go Smokies!